Hello, dear friends. It is Dr. Sarah. Thank you for joining me today for another video blog in the series on when histamine goes haywire and how essential oils can support balanced histamine levels, tame inflammation, and aid a healthy immune response. We've been talking for the past several weeks, if you've been following my YouTube channel or my blog, on the connection between excess histamine in the body and health outcomes. And I've also been describing how essential oils can be an ally in balancing high levels and regaining mind-body balance. Now, what I want to do in the next two videos, including this one, is provide you with some additional essential oils that you can use to aid excess histamine and enhance resiliency. We'll talk about some of their properties so that you can find your perfect match for helping you if you are struggling with a histamine overload in your system. So the first part in this video that we're going to go through is essential oils from A to L. And I have 16 essential oils to get through with you today, but don't worry, we're going to be brief and to the point and also give you enough information to go on. As always, all of the links to the studies, additional information on the oils, any references and resources can be found in the accompanying blog. And then you'll also want to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or to my blog so that you'll know when part 2 is coming up, where we will go through M to Z essential oils for high histamine loads and for balancing the immune response. So let's just do a quick review about what happens with excess histamine levels and a little summary of how essential oils in general have properties that can rebalance the body and support immune resiliency. So first of all, what is histamine? It is a crucial chemical messenger that supports, yes, an effective immune response, but it also influences many other physiological functions in the body. There are receptors for histamine in many locations all over your body. So when these receptors get hit by histamine, a wide range of symptoms can occur. There are various environmental, emotional triggers that can cause this excess release of histamine in the body, and that can cause our natural defenses to kind of go haywire. The effects can be compounded by genetic variants in histamine enzyme production or metabolism, nutritional deficiencies, metabolic disorders, underlying pathogens, or a decreased excretion of histamine. All of these effects compound this high level of histamine in the body just from environmental or emotional triggers from the outside. There's been an increase in the number of people struggling with high histamine symptoms lately, and I think that it's related to the rise in environmental exposures and emotional stressors in the world. And many of my colleagues think the same. And perhaps you're somebody that's experiencing getting sicker more frequently or having more robust allergic responses, maybe more painful menstrual issues, gut disturbances, strange skin eruptions, mood shifts, sleep issues, or just being hypersensitive to things that you never were before, or having like a more robust response to maybe a bee sting or a bite that in the past it just wasn't that big of a deal. And you're not alone. These are a lot of the symptoms of excess histamine that many integrative doctors are finding in their practice. And they're also finding that these rising concerns are not responding and resolving as quickly as they were in the past because of all of these additional triggers that we're up against. So what I did in the first part of the series is I went in more detail about the causes and issues related to excess histamine in the body and how it can lead to histamine intolerance and what we call mast cell activation syndrome. Mast cells are an immune cell that releases histamine. And I also explained the first step to treating these conditions, which is symptom relief, either through over-the-counter antihistamines or natural antihistamines, and also calming down the limbic response. So you can calm down the hyper response when the body is triggered and always thinks it's in danger. And I highlighted how essential oils can aid the healing process and restore histamine balance through mediating the immune response and addressing various triggers related to histamine release. Then in my second post, which again will be linked in the accompanying article to this video, I gave a recap of all of that and how essential oils indirectly and directly lower histamine levels as they impact immune health and overall resiliency. So this is because they have various properties because there's so many constituents in essential oils, and all of these constituents combine in one little drop or two little drops of essential oils to have anti-inflammatory effects, to be modulators of hormones, neurotransmitters, and vagal tones. They are mood supportive. Essential oils are antimicrobial. That's a trigger again, remember, for histamine relief. They can aid digestive health, which enhances assimilation, elimination of things we don't need, makes gastrointestinal barrier function better, and essential oils support a healthy microbiome. And remember, your digestion is a hub of the immune response in the gut-brain axis. They can act as cellular protectors, as antioxidants. They are stress relieving, so they can calm that limbic system down. And they support detoxification of harmful compounds, which are one of the triggers of histamine release. And also, I mentioned just 4 single oils. Last time I mentioned geranium, rosemary, peppermint, and lavender oils that had some evidence of being antihistamine. And then also an aromatherapy blend that was a combination of anti-inflammatory and calming essential oils to relieve allergic rhinitis in a human trial. So that is the basic summary, getting you all up to speed about histamine overload, how it impacts the system, and how essential oils have those mechanisms of action that can tame histamine response either directly or indirectly. So now we're going to focus on 16 oils that actually can affect histamine directly. And this came from a creator's apothecary post that I ran into when I was researching antihistamine essential oils. And what I loved about this particular article was it had done a lot of the work for me. I had cross-referenced a lot of the peer-reviewed research that it had referenced in its article. And I was already finding some of these articles outside of that article. So I will again link to that article in the video description article so that you can go into details if you want to cross-reference or look at the actual studies. But I wanted to summarize it up for you first here, and discuss also, they went into different categories of types of allergic reactions. And this was cool because they actually correlated some essential oils to these types of allergic reactions that can occur in the body. And there's 4 main types. There's type 1, which most people are familiar with. That's the hypersensitivity reaction, or that anaphylactic immediate trigger of the immune system that we're in danger and it's going to produce a response, and all of a sudden inflammation goes on overload, right, by these different inflammatory mediators. And then there's a type 2 or cytotoxic reaction, which is an allergic reaction where antibodies stimulate this pathway in the body called the complement pathway, and it causes actual damage to cellular structures. And again, it's not as quick as this type 1 instant immediate reaction. There's type 3 or immunocomplex reactions. Some of this is getting a little technical, but I know some doctors also watch these videos, so it might be a good refresher, but just the main point is that there's different types. But in type 3 is an allergic reaction where there's IgM and IgG antibodies that react with an allergen, and they form these immunocomplexes in the body, known as antigen antibody complexes. And this is the immune response that can create havoc in the body. And then there's the type 4, which is easy. So there's 4 types, and they're named type 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is the cell-mediated reaction. These are delayed types of hypersensitivity. You don't see them right away. They can be a deferred skin response. Some autoimmune diseases are classified as type 4 or cell-mediated reactions. So now that you know that, let's get into the mega list of essential oils, starting from A2L that lower histamine and aid immune resiliency. The first is Atlas cedarwood. Okay, so I know it's kind of a C, but it's Atlas cedarwood, which is a specific type of cedarwood, and it can help with type 2 and type 4, so delayed hypersensitivities, including food allergies. And there's high levels of sesquiterpenes present in the oil, and those are attributed to its antihistaminic and its anti-allergenic responses. It can also act as a decongestant and detoxifier. So if you have poor circulation, cedarwood in the blood or the lymph, and some of these allergic responses, this might be a good oil for you. Basil is good for type 1 allergies, and it is actually has some moderate anti-allergenic properties. It was reported that it had antihistaminic effects that may support the treatment of asthma and related conditions in some studies. Bergamot is a citrus fruit essential oil with anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. It has been found to alleviate some allergy symptoms and asthma. Blue cypress oil possesses anti-inflammatory, antihistamine, analgesic, which is pain relieving, and antipyretic, which is anti-itching actions. So it could be useful for treating immediate allergic responses such as contact dermatitis, is itchy skin, uh, insect bites, insect stings. That's the blue cypress. Blue tansy is also helpful for type 1 reactions. It's strong anti-allergenic and antihistamine effects for immediate allergies. It assists with the inflammatory component of asthma. And there's saponin and camphor in this oil, which provide it with good anti-inflammatory properties as you're dealing with the anti-allergenic portion. Caraway essential oil has some antihistamine properties. It could lower histamine levels and provide relief from things such as stuffiness and coughing as it lowers inflammation. Clove bud offers moderate antihistamine effects for type 1 allergic disorders, but if there's also an antimicrobial origin that triggers it, or mites, it can kill mites that cause allergies. Clove also will enhance the immune response, and it's an antioxidant. So it has all of those properties. So it's good to use for people that can have some of these inflammatory or allergen disruption or antimicrobial issues. One study reported that the eugenol in clove oil can help with asthma, allergic rhinitis, and psoriasis. We are halfway through now with eucalyptus, which is just a general good anti-inflammatory essential oil that could help with assisting with allergies. It's known for providing some respiratory relief due to some of the components in it. Phenol is known to reduce pain and alleviate the itching from excess histamine, which I thought was interesting. Our good friend frankincense oil, specifically Boswellia catarrhae or Boswellia farina, has alpha-pinene in it, which can aid immune support and decrease allergic symptoms. German chamomile is anti-allergenic, it's antihistaminic, and it contains azulinine and bisabal, which are anti-inflammatory, antihistamine, and spasmolytic, so it decreases spasms. I've heard one, Jennifer Pressman, she is a famous clinical aromatherapist, has used chamomile for helping with spasms in the gut before. And German chamomile can provide a calming effect to the respiratory system and also soothe symptoms of dermatitis. Grindella, which is an oil that I wasn't too familiar with, but that appears to aid in allergenic attacks, according to some research. Helichrysum is useful for type 1 reactions. It's also anti-inflammatory, antihistaminic, and anti-allergic. It combines well with blue tansy. Our oil lavender is one of those universal oils. It has moderate antihistamine effects, and it's also anti-allergenic. It can lower inflammation. It's good for stress and tension. It calms the mind and enhances other oils in specific blends. It's a good enhancer for blends. Preclinical studies, which I mentioned last time when I talked about lavender, shows that it can inhibit immediate type 1 allergic reactions by preventing mast cell degranulation. So the mast cells aren't going to release that histamine or some of the other inflammatory mediators that it would normally. And there's some evidence that the compounds found in lavender are including linalool, which is known for its calming, but it may inhibit histamine production and suppress inflammation in the airways. There's human trials that have shown lavender reduce skin irritation and enhance the healing process in various subjects. Lemon oil is a citrus oil that could help with type 1 reactions. One study found it could reduce nasal mucus and help treat throat and mouth inflammation in allergic rhinitis, which is an inflammation in the nasal passageways. Lemongrass, which was my now passed on little Kiara Kitty's favorite essential oil to diffuse, Is also anti-allergic, anti-inflammatory properties. It can help rid of allergy symptoms, including sneezing, wheezing, and stuffy and runny noses. It's also antifungal, so it can prevent pathogens that aggravate an allergic reaction. Lemongrass can help calm an overactive immune response, calm skin irritation, inflammation, and fight fungal infections when applied topically or when inhaled. Note that with this oil, you do want to dilute, and also it can cause a little bit of a yellowish discoloration after amount of time. So those are the 16 oils. And again, this is probably a video where you are going to want the accompanying article to click back to just so you have this reference of which oil would be best for this type of allergic reaction and what are its other properties. Why should I choose it? But just as a quick rundown, we'll review it was Atlas cedarwood, basil, bergamot, blue cypress, blue tansy, caraway, clove bud, eucalyptus, fennel, frankincense, German chamomile, grindella, helichrysum, lavender, lemon, and lemongrass. So we know that histamine is a critical chemical messenger. It isn't the bad guy. It's important for vital bodily functions and immune response. It's just when it goes in excess, which is happening more and more with all the triggers in the world, that it can cause histamine intolerance, contribute to hypersensitivity of mast cell activation syndrome, or just rise in allergic responses. Essential oils have these multiple properties that either directly or indirectly impact the histamine release and can help balance levels and immune response and overall mind-body balance. We talked about various essential oils that are directly antihistaminic, anti-inflammatory, and have calming properties that can help alleviate the suffering of allergic responses and histamine disorders. So we went through the first 16. In the final section, we'll go through the rest from M to Z, but I actually think it's M to Y because I think it ends with yarrow, but M to Z sounded better. So these can further your repertoire of aromatic allies that might be best for whatever you're struggling with. And I urge any doctors or clinicians to take this information and look up the science because I have found with my clients, essential oils really do make the healing process with supplements and integrative health a lot more efficient, in my opinion, as well as symptomology also resolves quicker. So I want to thank you for taking the time to learn about essential oils for a more balanced mind, body, spirit. I'd love to hear your experience with excess histamine in your body and if you've used essential oils. And again, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the second part of this post on the final installment of essential oils for histamine excess and immune health.